Thanks for listening to the DJ Eclectic podcast. Be sure to catch shows live every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. at eagleradio.org. The 6-8 with DJ Eclectic is brought to you by Lil Green Baby, a budding internet company which specializes in crochet goods. From hats to gloves, toddler size to adult size, even now crocheted Pokemon plushies, you can trust Lil Green Baby to complete your order quickly and accurately. Find them on Facebook at LILGREENBEBE. They will gladly take any custom orders and will give you a quote before you sign off on them. That's LILGREENBEBE. One more time, that's LILGREENBEBE. They have expanded to Etsy as well and are on Instagram. And order fast now to receive 10% off any order placed before March 1st, 5% off for military personnel, 5% off for parents of special needs children, and free shipping on all orders over $60. One last time, that's LILGREENBEBE for all your crochet needs. The 6-8 with DJ Eclectic is also brought to you by Brownman.twitch.tv and his official merch shop, brownman.fanfiber.com. Ray Narvaez Jr., the Twitch streamer behind the channel, is a variety streamer, meaning he plays the games he wants to play when he wants to play them. Go follow him at twitch.tv/brownman, follow him on Twitter, and catch up on all his past streams on his YouTube channel, Brownman. From mugs to t-shirts, hoodies to hats, head to brownman.fanfiber.com for all your Brownman merch needs. Eastern Michigan University, Eagle Radio. DJ Eclectic. That's right, it is 6:05 currently on this Sunday, January the 22nd, 2017. You're listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here, only on Eastern Michigan University, Eagle Radio. I'm your host, Christopher Haig. For the first time in almost 8 months exactly, welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in and listening. So yeah, almost 8 months exactly to the day from the last time that I was on this station. It was April 24th. For those of you who were with me last season, you'll remember that was the final show after we had a month-long shutdown of the station due to things that were really out of my control. Some equipment was tampered with. And it was that very last week that my station manager said, okay, go ahead. If you want to do this one last show, this last week of content, it is open for you. And I went right ahead and did it. And then I was gone for the semester 2 days later. But I'm back for a brand new season of DJ Eclectic content. Same show, same dude, same time, same place. One thing, and if you don't follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you wouldn't have seen the post that I made 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. It would have been 2 weeks ago on Tuesday after my first station meeting. There has been a major change to the station that will actually affect the other half of the show, which is the music. Between the end of my show, the end of my season last year and the start of the season this year, we were officially licensed through the FCC as a rock station. Now, that doesn't affect any of the talk radio content, but what that does is it keeps us from playing anything other than music that falls under the rock genre, as broad as that is. And the reason my station manager, Megan, decided to pick rock is because it can be so broad. There's so many subgenres, and depending on how far you want to take the tree branches down, there really is a lot of music that you can play there. But unlike last year where you would hear me go from, some new Disturbed to Keep Singing by Rick Astley to, 1999 by Prince and cap it off with Outkast, I sadly, aside from Disturbed, I cannot play any of those artists, which means for as much as I tried to open up a request line last year, for the first little bit, I will pick through the music myself, just as I kind of get my bearing and as the station kind of gets its bearing on having this FCC license. Last term was the first time that we were kind of dealing with that and all of the little tweaks. I can still bring in my own music, which I did, obviously. But I have to get an ISRC number, which is, through the FCC, and is to make sure that if they come in and want to know who played what at what time, there's no way for us to get in trouble because all of these show logs have these numbers attached to each of the songs that fall within the rock genre, what's able to be played on the station. No matter what show, like every show on this station falls under those guidelines. So, again, I explained this on the Facebook page, DJ Eclectic, and I linked to it on Twitter as well, same name, at DJ Eclectic. So go ahead and follow me on social media. I will now be active there. These shows will be posted online, either later tonight or I might post them tomorrow, and I will link to them on the Facebook and Twitter pages as well. But yeah, very exciting change, very different. I had to go through all my music and determine, what can I play? What can I not play? What am I going to do with all this music that I can't play now? How am I still going to incorporate it? Because if you remember, the reason my show is called The 6-8 with DJ Eclectic, aside from the fact that I was just uncreative enough to make my time slot part of my name, the DJ Eclectic part came from the mix of music that I would play. As I, described, I bounce around from, pop to acapella covers to rock, old stuff, new stuff. I would play Prince, 1999 by Prince and, brand new 2016 stuff from Rick Astley in the same show. So I am still keeping that name, but the change in the FCC license does kind of affect it. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do about everything. But you are, more than free to follow me on social media. I will be, active there. Again, in the post I did apologize for kind of being silent since October. My last semester of classes kind of took over and I fell away from the regular postings that I had promised, over the summer and in the off season, after my show ended. But I'm here now. I'm here until April for a brand new season of DJ Eclectic content. Gets better and better every week. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and take our first break here. When we come back from the music, what did TMZ post? Some fake news from TMZ that got Amblin Entertainment in a lot of trouble. What is Macomb County doing about the sinkhole in Fraser? And how much pot was busted on the east side of Detroit? All that and more when we come back. This is the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. Here for you right now, I've got Any Way You Want It by Journey. There you go. That was the classic Hotel California by the Eagles. Before that was Iron Maiden's Run to the Hills. You are listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here on Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio. I'm your host, Chris. Thanks for sticking with me. Alright, gonna jump right to the news here. Story out of the east side of Detroit with a major pot bust. This past week there was a major pot bust on the east side of Detroit, street priced at about $1 million. $1 million. 6 digits. Jonathan Parnell, a lieutenant with narcotics, set up the bust after a tip came in regarding the smell of pot in the area. The search warrant came in conjunction with Operation Ceasefire, which had been executed within the 9th Precinct. Officers were involved in undercover street-level buy and bust operations, and they built up enough of a collection from this to get a search warrant for the location at Gratiot and Mohican. The suspect, though arrested without incident, was armed with a handgun and plenty of other ammunition within the house. Yeah, $1 million. Million dollars of pot. And why did he get busted? Because of the one thing you really can't control. It's the smell. Yeah. $1 million. Kudos to Parnell for setting up the bust. And, while I may be all for legalizing marijuana, and that's a conversation for a different day, there are legal ways to do it, and there's this way of doing it. Not smart. 11 Macomb County communities will share the cost to fix a sinkhole at 15 and Gratiot in Fraser. For those of you who remember, it's a massive sinkhole that opened up in late 2016 and has just been causing havoc. Late 2016, early 2017, early this year, and has just been causing havoc. Well, these communities decide they're going to share the cost to fix it. Mark Hackle says the county will be transparent in its attempts to find any more problems. Come March, the city will have a better idea of the total cost that it will take to fix this sinkhole, and the rises that are expected for water rates in the area aren't quite known at this point. A fatal Tesla Model S crash in May was not the result of any defect in the car's autopilot driving system, as concluded by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration on Thursday. Back in May, if you remember, Joshua Brown drove his Tesla Model S into and under the back of a tractor trailer that had turned left in front of him. He had his autopilot turned on and was set to 74 miles an hour. People thought it was an open and shut case because the autopilot is designed to brake for you should you not do it yourself, which Joshua obviously did not. Problem is, the system, as per Tesla's owner manual, is not supposed to be used on surface streets, only limited access highways with on and off ramps. That's the only place it's really designed to be used. Elon Musk, the head of Tesla, called the result of the investigation very positive. Obviously, there was nothing wrong with his system. It seemed the NHTSA concluded that it was user error, or it was not really user error. It was the fault of the driver. The autopilot system was not to blame. The immediate response to the fatal crash back in May was to update Tesla's system with more aggressive warnings should you remove your hands from the steering wheel. Normally with self-driving cars, they won't let you take your hands off the steering wheel for a certain amount of time just because autopilot systems are still very much in their infancy and they require they require monitoring, let's say. And should it fail for any reason, you already have your hands on the wheel right there. So it's not any sort of issue. And Tesla made its warnings more frequent and much more aggressive should you take your hands off the steering wheel, which I can only assume is what happened with Joshua Brown before he drove into the back of a tractor trailer. So yeah, not the fault of Tesla. And Elon Musk is very happy with the results of he's very happy with the results of the investigation. All right, now let's talk about fake news and its recent peak in prominence. Now, when I say fake news, I don't mean a full fabrication of facts. Well, I kind of. I do and I don't. Not in this case. What I mean in this case is the assumption of facts, the filling in the blanks to surround doctored evidence. And what I mean by this is, I know there are a lot of people that were looking forward to the movie A Dog's Purpose, based on the book by the same name. I was and still am very excited to see it. There was a video, TMZ leaked a video earlier this week showing, and it was an edited video showing Hercules, one of 5 stunt dogs used in the production. There's a scene, there's a stunt sequence with very rapidly rushing, very turbulent, rocky waters. And the first part of the video, and I say first part because there is a very harsh edit, and that'll be important later, but the first part of this video shows Hercules and his trainer, his handler, trying to become accustomed to the water. And you can see what may look rough to most of us casual animal lovers, but the trainer and other trainers online, licensed obviously, have come to the aid of Amblin Entertainment and the producers and directors of the movie, saying that it is they are approved tactics what the handler is doing. And the dog, Hercules, looks terrified of the water. I mean, I watched the video and I get nervous looking at how rapidly that water's rushing. I, A, am not a dog. B, can understand that it's a scene. It's part of a movie. nothing actually permanently bad is going to happen to me. I can understand that. And I got nervous looking at this water. But the first part of the clip shows Hercules in the arms of his handler, and the handler is dipping his toes into the water, trying to show Hercules that the water is okay, maybe get him acclimated to the temperature of the water. And Hercules is not having it. He's not happy. He's not okay with doing the stunt. And at that point, the video cuts very harshly to a different section of the stage. We have no idea what day it is, if there was a break, if they just continued filming, how much later the second portion was. But it's later on in the stunt, and the dog is floating down the turbulent water, and goes underwater. And the moment the dog disappears underneath the water, the director yells cut, the producers and staff rush around the edge of the water. The trainers and divers, there were divers there in the water, rescue Hercules. They take him out of the water. And this was leaked. This was back in 2015 that this video was taken. It was during production. Now, the movie is set to release in 2 weeks, week and a half. So this clip is very, very old, and it was very obviously edited. Now, what we missed in that section that was edited out, we'll never know. We'll have no idea what's there. What could possibly be there. But TMZ leaked this 2-year-old, almost, like year and a half old footage, and filled in the blanks about the context to the first clip, filled in details and kind of created facts for what we missed in that edit, or just ignore the edit entirely in their article, in their write-up of the clip. And the headline from TMZ reads, "A Dog's Purpose, Terrified German Shepherd Forced into Turbulent Water." And the article goes on about, it opens with, "One of the dogs in the upcoming film, A Dog's Purpose, desperately resisted shooting a risky scene, but chilling footage shows filmmakers apparently forcing the animal into rushing water." TMZ obtained this video of a scene shot in a pool outside Winnipeg, Canada in November 2015, so, a bit more than a year old. You can see a trainer forcibly shoving a German Shepherd, one of at least 5 dogs used in the production, into the frothing water, but the animal wanted no part of it, repeatedly clawed at the pool's edge. The director, Lasse Hallström, TMZ said, quote, "We're told director Lasse Hallström was present the whole time, and at least one member of the crew was extremely disturbed by the dog's treatment during the scene." Amblin Partners and Universal Pictures have seen the video and tell TMZ, quote, "Fostering a safe environment and ensuring the ethical treatment of our animal actors was of the utmost importance to those involved in making this film, and we will look into the circumstances surrounding this video." Very short article. It kind of hit on a few points, but like I said, a lot of those were fabricated or led to make you assume something else. Their use of chilling footage, their use of, in that same sentence, shows filmmakers apparently forcing the animal into the rushing water. And here's where the first hole really gets poked in this article, where they said they were told Lasse Hallström was present the entire time. He was not. He was entirely absent that day, and personally admitted to it himself in his full reaction to the clip. He said he was disturbed by what he saw. He knew that that's not what he wanted, that he wasn't present on set that day, which is very normal for a bigger, movie, properly big movie production like this. You'll normally have an A team and a B team, and the director can't make both teams. So this could easily have been the shooting team that the director could not be there to see. So that little bit in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/6 of this article is just entirely wrong. Lasse Hallström was not present at all during that during that scene, or he was not on set a single second that day to see any of this. He admitted to it himself. Now, this got shared this spread like a wildfire on social media, and social media really plays a big part in the churning up of this fake news. And because it got shared so heavily, there were allegations of abuse. The Animal Humane Association, the AHA, which when you're watching a movie and it has the no dogs were harmed in the making of this movie, that's the group that's there to give it that stamp of approval. They sign off on all of that. So anytime you see that in movies, when the American Humane Association says no animals were harmed in the making of this movie, they were there present during every single scene with an animal actor. And they were there on set, and they have sided with the trainers and, kind of come out against what TMZ is reporting or trying to report, and say that, each trainer handles animals differently, but what Hercules' trainer was doing was an approved method of working with an animal actor, and that, no rules were broken, there was no abuse, there were no allegations, or there was no base to these allegations of abuse. But it didn't stop the premiere from being canceled, people boycotting the movie, PETA hopping on the bandwagon and calling for a massive boycott and a ban of this movie. And just all of this fake news starting up. New York Daily News, the title of their article was, "A Dog's Purpose is just the latest proof that animals are harmed in making films, despite the disclaimers." The ones that the AHA will sign off on personally after being there for all of shooting. And my big problem, the reason I chose this as my, kind of opinion piece that I was going to that was going to go into detail, is the amount of fake news that is not just posted thanks to this ecosystem we've created of clickbait journalism, not the break it right or fact check, or you spend time, checking all the details of the story. That era is gone, almost entirely gone. Now it's the break it fast, get those, clicks, get those views, get those ratings up, this very social media heavy clickbait style of journalism that leads to stories like this, ruining the name of this movie, ruining Amblin Entertainment, which is a Spielberg company. Amblin Entertainment is a Spielberg property. And just smearing the names and ruining the reputations because of a fake story. Now, the two parts of the clips the clips themselves weren't doctored. There was no way to, but it was that cut that completely ruined the context of the clip. And throughout the entire video, which you can find online, and I will be posting it to the Facebook page and linking it on my Twitter as well. The only time the phrase "throw the dog in" is mentioned in the entire video is the guy behind the camera recording it saying, "They're probably just going to have to throw that dog in." It was the only time that phrase was ever mentioned in the entire video. It was TMZ and all of these people sharing it, mass sharing it, that kind of brought this idea of, they were throwing this animal in the water, And it's ruining this ecosystem of journalism where it makes everybody question everything that they see. If you can't trust it online, how are you going to trust when that mainstream media sources get some of their information from online? They could be looking at faulty sources, and there's a discussion to be had about, the biases of Fox News and CNN and NBC warping the facts, which has been discussed in plenty of detail, but that's not really the aim of this. But this fake news, this doctored evidence that just has the context removed from it. And what removing that context does is it gives the power of creating context to whoever is posting it. TMZ had all the power to create context for that clip, power that they should not have had. And, this was mass shared, and there was an update posted on Deadline. A Dog's Purpose, producer and author, after seeing full tape, dog was not in any danger. So, because it was recorded on set, the studio still had that raw footage. And so they were able to find that time period with the edited video and look at all of the raw footage. And obviously the dog was never in any danger. Any threat of danger for the animal it's completely fabricated. It was imagined. Unfortunately, the fabrication, the imagination is what took social media by storm, called for everybody to just start boycotting the movie, boycotting Amblin Entertainment. People were going after the author because they know that the book under his name is what inspired this movie with, all of this quote unquote, animal abuse, these horrible things that this studio, these directors are doing to these animals. And for the sake of our entertainment. But yeah, I just check the point is check your sources. Question everything before you post it. If the main evidence of this article that you're about to share has any weird cut, or you're looking at it and you wonder, why did they cut? What did they leave out? And you can't find anything about it, it's best to just not share it, because you get stories like this where it ruins, the reputation of directors, the name of the movie, the premiere of the movie. Amblin Entertainment, that's the production studio behind the movie. It drags everybody through the mud. And for what? For the clicks? For the views? For the almost blatant clickbait journalism? Is that what you're ruining all of these different names for? And I'm not saying it's on the individual fault of everybody who shares it. Ultimately, it's on the fault of whoever broke the story incorrectly, or fabricated a story for them to break. But when you're faced with this as somebody who regularly consumes social media and interacts on social media and gets their news from social media, myself included, a good portion of my information comes from either, social media or just online in general. But I do fact check everything, and it's doing this show and looking at all the sources that I get information from and how they treat fact checking. It's just be careful. Look at what you're posting before you just give it a quick share on Facebook. You may think it's just one share, but you're sharing it to everybody that you're friends with. They take it from you and they give it to everyone they're friends with, and movie premieres get canceled. And it's just this garbage pile of fake journalists, of clickbait. I can't even call them journalists, clickbait writers. There's no journalism at TMZ. There's no good journalism at TMZ. And unfortunately, it's reached such a fever pitch that's hitting the mainstream media. It was CBS News that posted about the premiere being canceled after the abuse allegations. It's New York Daily News talking about how, Dog's Purpose is the latest proof that animals are harmed in the making of films. It's mainstream media getting their information from social media, when the information they get from social media, it couldn't be more wrong. And it's ruining the idea of good, honest journalism. And sadly, social media is to blame for it. Blame for how quickly it'll spread. But yeah, so TMZ fabricated a story about potential animal abuse. None of it was true. The evidence was doctored. They made a lot of assumptions. They filled in a lot of their own details. And it led to what I'm still excited to see this movie. I'm still going to go see this movie. It looks fantastic. You know, if you've seen any adverts, and I'll post one along with the original TMZ article, I will post a link to one of the various adverts for this movie. It still looks like a really entertaining movie. I'm still going to go see it. But it's unfortunate that this movie had to get dragged through the mud because somebody decided the views were better than the honesty. All right, before we take our next break here, we're going to get to a look at weather. It is currently, in Ypsilanti, it's currently 47 degrees with a lot of fog. There was a lot of fog yesterday because yesterday was so unseasonably warm. It's a lot cooler today, but for the first hour and a half that I was awake and, you know, sitting at my desk working on stuff for this show, I could hardly see the next residence hall in front of me out of my window. It was completely covered in fog. And walking to the studio, there was still fog everywhere. So just if you're driving and there's fog, just, you know, be careful. Be safe when you're driving. Tomorrow, we're looking at a 60% chance of precipitation in the area, high of 45, low of 35. Tuesday is going to be cloudy, less chance of precipitation, 42 degrees for the high, 38 for the low. Wednesday looks like light rain only in the morning, high of 47, low of 33. Thursday the 26th, we're looking at the rain from Wednesday morning turning into snow Thursday morning, 30% chance, 38 for the high, 27 for the low. Friday's just going to be cloudy, nice mild day, 33 degrees for a high, 23 for a low. Saturday we're looking at more snow, 30 for a high, 21 for a low. And next Sunday, January 29th, it's going to be mostly cloudy, bit of sun peeking out for a high of 31 and a low of 20. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, is the fappening happening again? Are we getting another round of this? And we're going to get to a check of sports as well. You are listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here on Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio. Here is Enter Sandman by Metallica. The 6-8 with DJ Eclectic is brought to you by Little Green Bebe, a budding internet company which specializes in crochet goods. From hats to gloves, toddler size to adult size, even now crocheted Pokemon plushies, you can trust Little Green Bebe to complete your order quickly and accurately. Find them on Facebook at LILGREENBEBE. They will gladly take any custom orders and will give you a quote before you sign off on them. That's LILGREENBEBE. One more time, that's LILGREENBEBE. They have expanded to Etsy as well and are on Instagram. And order fast now to receive 10% off any order placed before March 1st, 5% off for military personnel, 5% off for parents of special needs children, and free shipping on all orders over $60. One last time, that's LILGREENBEBE for all your crochet needs. The 6-8 with DJ Eclectic is also brought to you by brownman.twitch.tv and his official merch shop, brownman.fanfiber.com. Ray Narvaez Jr., the Twitch streamer behind the channel, is a variety streamer, meaning he plays the games he wants to play when he wants to play them. Go follow him at twitch.tv/brownman, follow him on Twitter, and catch up on all his past streams on his YouTube channel, Brownman. From mugs to t-shirts, hoodies to hats, head to brownman.fanfiber.com for all your Brownman merch needs. Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio. DJ Eclectic. That's right. It is 7:04 on this Sunday, the 22nd of January, 2017. You are listening to Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio, the home of the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. I'm your host, Christopher Haig. Thank you for tuning in and listening. All right, we're going to jump right to this because this is just some nonsense that is happening again. So back in 2014, not sure if any of you guys can remember back that far, seems like forever ago, there was an incident online that was referred to as the Fappening. And what it was basically a lot of famous people getting their cloud accounts hacked, and primarily females getting pictures of their bits released to the internet. Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, even Michaela Maroney, who at the time said she was underage in those pictures, were all exposed, and there was great outrage across the board. People condemned. One of the hackers was originally sentenced to, I believe it was 7 or 8 years, and he got it knocked down to 18 months, and that's what he served as one of the primary individuals who took part in the Fappening. And we all assumed it was over. There were a few every now and again, but nothing quite as condensed as it was in 2014. Well, welcome to January 2017, where it's happening again. It started with British boxer Amir Khan, followed up closely by Tyler Posey and Cody Christian, who, if any of you guys still watch MTV, are the two stars of TV's Teen Wolf, a TV show that really has nothing to do with the movie, pales in comparison to the movie. But those three kicked off a massive outburst of now these primarily male, there's a lot of videos of, recorded Skype sessions with models, these beautiful women who will seek these men out and convince them to go on Skype and do the thing on camera. And that's what Khan got caught doing. On the list, along with Khan, Posey, and Christian, are Olympic gymnast Lewis Smith, Britain's Got Talent winner George Sampson, Celebrity Big Brother contestant Caleb Best, diver Chris Mears, Coronation Street star Shane Ward, a former contestant on Strictly Come Dancing, Ben Cohen, The Only Way is Essex star Kirk Norcross, X Factor star Sam Callahan, and that's the list as it is right now. And then, Khan, Posey, and Christian started it, and these men have unfortunately joined them on this list. And I bring this up not to seem gross, not to, kind of feed into the idea of the Fappening again, but to talk about the reaction. The reaction is the big thing that's really, really interesting. Now, in 2014, when all of these women had their bits exposed online, there was outrage across the board. Condemnation. There were blogs that said, even if you looked, if you just opened, if you tore into the images, opened them, looked at them, it was akin to sexual assault, that it was rape if you looked at it. They wanted the death sentence, the highest form of punishment for any and all of the hackers involved with the Fappening back in 2014. And while it may have just started now for 2017, there isn't really a whole lot of that same outrage. Now, there are still plenty of people of the same sex as the people exposed who do feel bad. I do feel really bad. This is the one list I don't want to end. I would be fine being on the same list as gymnasts and talent competition winners, divers, actors, boxer. Amir Khan is always entertaining to watch. I would love to be on a list with these guys. Not this one, though. This, and just the stuff they got exposed doing. And it's all 100% stuff guys would get tricked into, too. I mean, because they leave, they like to lead bits first, obviously. Everyone knows that. But it's these beautiful women would seek them out, and what's been happening is they'll convince them to go on Skype and have intercourse online. And then Skype calls are very, very, almost deceptively easy to record. Back when I ran a podcast, we started it by recording a Skype call. And I had a free program, but it was a couple dollars, maybe 10 or 15 at most, to add in a video element. And then I would have been able to record every single video call, without anyone knowing. Like, I would have been the only one who knew. And so these models, what they do is they convince these famous people, these famous men, these celebrities, to get on Skype and do all of these things. And obviously, men are a lot easier to convince than women would be to do this. And they record the call secretly and then sell it to these expose sites, the ones that they know are gonna publish it and, call it a leak. But they'll record the call and then they'll sell the footage. And the most interesting thing is the reaction. There isn't a whole lot of outrage this time. I'm not one for generalizing, but what I've seen the most of are not really the most of. I've seen a lot of people critiquing the videos. Like with the happening in 2014, like you had to go torrent the images. You had to, find them through slightly not quite legal means of downloading something. This time, there are blogs just posting the pictures, like posting the videos, critiquing them, giving them advice on camera angles and admiring them. And these are, again, not generalizing, but these are the women that were outraged in 2014 when it was happening. And what strikes me as odd is the difference, the fact that there is a difference at all between when it happened to women in 2014 and when it's happening to men in 2017. It's the same thing. It's still the fappening. It's still these very compromising, photos and videos of these famous people and, either photos of their bits or videos of them, doing stuff with their bits or whatever, getting leaked online, getting made public. And while true, the fappening in 2014 had more of a blatantly illegal aspect to it because the images were hacked from a private iCloud account. And that this time it's, that the models that convince, people like Amir Khan to, get on Skype and do stuff on Skype and then selling that footage. There is a difference in how the media is given to the sites that'll leak it. But it's still the same thing. So why is there a difference in reaction? It should still be the same amount of outrage now as it was, back 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago when it happened. The fact that instead of J-Law, Kate Upton, and Michaela Maroney, it's Amir Khan, Shane Ward, and George Sampson, the fact that it's different people, it's a different gender, or it's a different sex, shouldn't matter. It's still people's bits being made public when people's bits shouldn't be being made public. It's the exact same action. It produces the same result. There shouldn't be a difference. And I don't understand why there's any difference in reaction. We should still have, maybe not the call for death, or, a capital punishment, or, the death sentence. We shouldn't have calls for that. We shouldn't have had calls for that in 2014 with the original happening. But we should still have the same amount of outrage. We should still have people the same amount of upset they were in 2014. We should have people still that upset by this, regardless of the fact that it's men now instead of women. It's celebrities having nudes leaked. Whether it's men or women, it's the same thing happening. And it struck me as very, very interesting that there was such a disconnect in reactions. Now, I do legitimately feel bad for everybody on this list. I made a joke about how bad, Teen Wolf as a show. I'll admit, I did watch it when it started years ago. Figured I'd give it a shot. Not great. I may have made a joke about that, but I do legitimately feel bad for everybody on this list because that is something that I would never want released under any circumstances. And I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Like, that's gotta be so humiliating to have stuff like this leaked, or not really leaked, like getting duped into making this. Like, they set up the stuff that was going to get released. They played into these models' traps. And that's got to feel even worse than just a hacking incident. Well, with the hacking, you're disappointed in the iCloud and that someone could be so trashy as to hack it. With this, it feels like so much more your fault because you're the reason it was created. You know, you fell for these models' traps. And, you know, you set up the session on Skype, you agreed to it, you know, you got your, you know, bits out and, you know, started showing the bits and didn't know it was recorded, but I mean, you were doing it on Skype. You know, you fell for it, and it's got to be so beyond humiliating. So why is there no outrage for it this time? I don't get it. Alright, gonna jump right into some sports for you guys, starting off with a bit of high school basketball. The Ypsilanti Grizzlies beat Tecumseh 55-32 on Friday and are set to play Monroe on Tuesday. Jumping to college and hockey, Ohio State beat Penn State 6-3. Western Michigan beat Colorado College 3-0. Michigan and Michigan State drew at 2. Central beat Lawrence Tech 7-6. And our own Eastern Michigan University Eagles fell to Illinois State 4-3. Switching to basketball, Ohio State beat Nebraska 67-66 in a real nail-biter. Western Michigan fell to the Buffalo Bulls 66-54. Michigan State fell to the Indiana Hoosiers 82-75. Michigan beat the Fighting Illini 66-57. Central Michigan beat the Miami Redhawks 101-92. And our Eastern Michigan University Eagles fell to the Akron Zips 70-63. Moving over to professional sports, the Pistons beat the Wizards 113-112. Morris led with 25 points and 11 rebounds. Jackson had 8 assists. They're set to take on the Kings tomorrow night at 7:30. You can catch that game on Fox Sports Detroit if you're watching the game, or on 105.1 if you want to listen to it. And the Red Wings earlier today fell to the Rangers 1-0 in overtime. JT Miller scored the sole goal in the game. Lundqvist made 21 saves against the Wings. Detroit is now 6th in the Atlantic Division and are going to face the Boston Bruins Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the TD Garden in Boston. Watch for that game. All right. A few more things before we take our next break here. Everyone either saw Trump's inauguration or saw pictures of it. It drew massive crowds of people from all over America. Unfortunately, there's a lot of places that white people came from. They came in droves, really. It was quite amazing. 14 House Democrats skipped Trump's inauguration Friday. Not because they didn't like him, not because he was a Republican, but because they'd already seen his entire lineup of performers at the South Dakota State Fair. And finally, Michael Keaton's Batman suit is going up for auction very soon. The initial asking price is set to be $35,000, and the buyer is expected to be a virgin. Those are my thoughts, not yours. You're listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here on Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio. We'll be right back. In the meantime, here is some Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. There you go. That was Led Zeppelin classic, Whole Lotta Love. Before that, Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. It is currently 7:32 on this Sunday, the 22nd of January, 2017. You are listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here on Eastern Michigan University Eagle Radio. I'm your host, Chris. Thank you for tuning in for the last little half hour of the show. I'm going to kick off this last bit. I'm going to go into another brief overview of some news, starting off with a 17-year-old Saginaw woman looking at life in prison for raping a 19-year-old man at knife point. She was arraigned on Wednesday for 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. She was denied bond and is due back in court on February 3rd. A lover's quarrel led to a shooting incident in St. Clair Shores this past week. A 21-year-old man, upset with his girlfriend, followed her to a well-known flop house in the area and unloaded 10 rounds into her car. She called the cops from inside the car after he managed to miss her with every round. The 21-year-old was arrested very soon, along with another man who was held on unrelated charges. And finally, Uber is set to pay around $20 million to settle a lawsuit with the Federal Trade Commission for reportedly misleading its drivers about how much they could possibly earn. Uber reported drivers could earn a median income of more than $90,000 in New York and around $74,000 in San Francisco. The lawsuit claims, however, that less than 10% of all drivers Uber has earn anywhere near that much. And in addition to the paycheck dispute, the FTC complaint says that Uber had no basis to claim that their leasing program had unlimited mileage, and that they have reportedly collected tens of millions of dollars through their leasing programs from their drivers. The $20 million will go to repay drivers affected by this misrepresentation. It was a major win for the drivers who have had complaints about Uber's policies in the past, such as in late 2015 and 2016, when cities across the country began suing Uber over employment status, which, if you remember, Uber decided to call its drivers independent contractors rather than employees, and that was to keep Uber from needing to provide any employment benefits. So, Uber, arguably the country's biggest provider of ride-sharing and personal taxi service, is down to settle with the FTC for around $20 million to go to its drivers. They deny that there was ever any intentional misrepresentation. However, they did immediately follow it up with saying that they'll look into it, which is guilt by omission, really. All right, one last thing we're going to look at here. Going to go right back to Donald Trump, who is now the President of the United States. He was inaugurated 2 days ago on Friday. And, yeah, it happened. We didn't think it would happen. We all, hopefully all of us, took it as a joke, when he announced that he would be, campaigning for the presidency, and just it kept going, and strange people started to come out of the woodwork, and suddenly he's our president-elect, and now he's officially inaugurated. Today was his second full day in office. But Trump's inauguration wasn't the only major collection of people coming together for such an event. There were plenty of women's marches here in the United States, and then, as I learned actually earlier today, around the world. So the biggest that I could find was in LA. There were 750,000 people who rallied in obviously a non-DC area, but did rally to protest Trump as our president. In DC, there were 500,000 people. New York City had 250,000, as did Chicago. Boston had around 125,000 people. And even here in Ann Arbor, there were 11,000 people who collected. And worldwide, there were groupings, there were standings in Oslo, Moscow, Greece, and Australia, which, again, did not know until late yesterday, earlier today, when I was looking into it more. I knew that there had been women's march. I'd seen plenty about the women's marches on Friday and yesterday, but I didn't know about the worldwide ripple that his election held. I guess it took me by surprise a little bit that so many people outside of the U.S. would, I guess, really care enough to protest an American presidency. But yeah, and here's my opinion. Here's the way I feel about this. I am not a Trump fan in any sense of the word, in any context of the word. But, and I appreciate that people are using, I like when people use their amendment rights to gather, their free, their right to freedom of speech, the ability that the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights gives us to collect and speak our mind. I love when I see people using that to stand up for what they believe in or stand against what they don't. But the problem I have, despite not being a Trump fan, I have to hope for him. I have to have some sort of faith in either him or the Senate and everyone else who keeps him in check. I have to have faith in them that they can do these 4 years well. And saying that, I am hoping it's only 4 years. I don't know quite yet. And I kind of don't want to think about his potential re-election because that's just looking too far into the future. But I have to have some minuscule amount of faith in the man that he can, if not know what he's doing, find enough people who do to be able to pull this off. You know, it's just, while I do appreciate people taking their rights and gathering and protesting, what I don't and what I just can't appreciate are the people who speak in such, what's the word I'm looking for? Speak in such 100% distrust. And to an extent, I do see where those people are coming from. A lot of his comments on Muslims and Mexicans aren't great. And while they did become more serious as his campaign went on, it did make for some easy fodder for jokes, which for a comedian like myself was highly entertaining to just pump out new Trump jokes every day. So I understand where people are coming from with their apprehension, their constant apprehension, but we still have to have faith in the man and his cabinet to do something positive with our country, to not tank it, to not destroy it, to not ruin the economy that's been, building back up for the better part of the past 8 years. The past 2 presidential terms has been building back up from that recession at the end of 2007 and into 2008. You know, so like I said, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump supporter. Never have been. Can't ever imagine myself being a Trump person. I don't like the guy. I don't like his opinions. I don't like the things that he gets caught saying and then denies saying in the first place. The point is to have faith, to, even if you don't want to believe that one thing positive can come out of this. I know that's hard to do with a polarizing figure like Trump, and really the polarization goes back to the development of our very strict extremist 2-party system that we were warned against in the beginning to stay away from political parties. And in my opinion, that's really what grew the divide, to allow people like Trump to use such inflammatory speech to rile up the extremists on his side and, you know, start to, you know, let them poke at the extremists on the other side. I'm not a fan of that party system. It's why, you know, non-polarizing people like Johnson and Stein and even Sanders seems so much more appealing than Clinton or Trump, which I was not a fan of either of them during the campaign. And despite your holdings and want to withdraw and kind of, you know, hold that in and let it hold you back from believing in the guy, you have to, he's the leader of our country. You have to have some sort of faith that either he gets a clue or that there are going to be enough people to keep him from acting on his lack of clue. You know, and it may seem bleak for, you know, a lot of, you know, immigrants and, you know, children, you know, naturalized children, you know, the people who had anchor babies and then they got citizenship, and, families who get in that way. I know there's a lot of worry about, same-sex marriage and what Trump could potentially do to open the door for the Supreme Court to reverse their ruling deciding that the idea of same-sex marriage was a civil rights and civil liberties issue, which would give the federal government a say in its legality. I know there are a lot of people I know personally who are worried that Trump's appointing of the soon-to-be open seats in the Supreme Court would put in enough voices for the decision to be reversed and for it to be an issue of marriage, and that would be up for the states to decide the way that it was up until the Supreme Court ruling. But then that would give power to the states to say, it's not a civil rights issue. You're trying to redefine marriage. And there was a big criticism of people, of the Supreme Court at the time of the ruling. So I understand people's apprehension for Trump based on his platform, his speech, his views. But what people don't understand is that, and what people are actually worried a lot about, is that you can't trust what he says because he flops and he backtracks and he denies so easily, so quickly. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind was when he was campaigning, he was on the platform of ban Obamacare entirely, get rid of it, replace it with a new system. As he got closer to being elected, and his words as president-elect were, get rid of Obamacare except for these few portions. We're going to keep a little bit of it around. We're going to keep, just this little portion of it around, which isn't the platform that he campaigned on, that he rallied people against. His wall on the U.S.-Mexican border has changed from a wall that Mexico will pay for to now a wall that Mexico will repay the U.S. for building, which is somehow an even dumber idea, because now it's putting the direct burden on the taxpayers to build something that they're just that we're never going to see the money from again. I mean, Mexico's still in its stance of they're not paying a single cent for such a stupid wall. And I 100% understand. I wouldn't either. It's such a stupid wall. And he's backtracking and flopping on his issues so easily because he knows that because of the extremist way that the political parties have divided themselves over the decades, over the years, he knows he can rally people up on his, side, and, he can hit the extremists on his end of the political spectrum. He knows he's going to get that rally, that frenzied support. So despite his ease of flopping, his ease of backtracking, we just have to believe. We just have to have faith that either he wakes up somehow. If he wakes up one morning and suddenly knows what he's doing, I have to have faith that either that's going to happen or someone else is going to realize that he doesn't know what he's doing and pick up the slack. We can protest the idea of Trump as president all we want. We can say, hashtag not my president, hashtag not our president. But we can't condemn the leader of our country like that. We can protest all we want. We're well within our right to do so. But we can't outright deny the fact that he's the leader of our nation. Some bit of faith has to be there that something positive can and will come out of this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could be. I don't know when it's coming, but I have faith. I believe somehow that something remotely good can come out of the next 4 years. And so don't worry, I'll still be cracking plenty of jokes. He says some really stupid stuff on the mic and on Twitter especially. So I'll be making plenty of jokes, but I'll still have that belief that another human can know what they're doing well enough to lead people this way. So, a lot of women's marches in place of the inauguration, which I appreciate, but just don't condemn this man just yet. Have faith that he can find out what he's doing. He can figure this out. All right, one last check of weather before I bid you guys a good week. It's currently 47 degrees here in Ypsilanti with what I'm assuming is plenty of fog. There was fog when I got into this studio. There was fog when I woke up. I don't know if it's cleared in the past 2 hours or not. Tomorrow, we're looking at 60% chance of rain showers scattered throughout the day, a high of 45, a low of 35. Tuesday is going to be a bit drier, mostly cloudy, 42 for a high, 38 for a low. Wednesday, we'll have light rain contained to the morning only, high of 46, low of 33. Thursday, we're going to have some scattered snow showers in the morning, contained to the morning, a high of 38, low of 27. Friday is going to be dry, mostly cloudy, high of 33, low of 23. Saturday, we're going to have more snow just early in the morning, high of 30, low of 21. And next Sunday, right now, it's looking to be mostly cloudy, high of 31, low of 20. And that's going to do it for the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic here on this Sunday, the 22nd of January, my first show in 8 months. Glad you guys could stop in and listen. And yeah, first time in 8 months. I'm glad to be doing this. I will see you guys again, same time, same place, next Sunday. And just remember to take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good week, and here is Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes.